We're live.
Oh, hey, what's going on? I'll be right back.
Okay. When you jump on and it's the going live, it's going to be live. All right, guys. Yeah, it's we got the marketing news early in the day today, so obviously everybody's drooling over it, and for good reason. Sacramento, I'm sorry, Utah. I mean, that whole Utah Sacramento game is really interesting, but the guys I'm siding with the most are Horton Tucker, Fontecchio, and Olynyk. No, it's pretty chalky. Agbaji, I'm okay with. I think the Chris Dunn projection's a little bit high. We just haven't seen him get the minutes, but he has been insanely productive in the minutes that he plays. So it's hard to just write him out. I have a little bit of Chris Dunn, but I don't have him in my big buy-ins right now. Right now, I am sticking with the Fontecchio, Olynyk, Horton Tucker as my three main guys from that game. The biggest piece of news that we're waiting on is Houston. Midday downgrades to questionable for Jalen Green and Şengün, which are both big. Kind of weird to see this in a Houston situation, so it's going to be a little bit tricky because we're used to seeing it with other teams that maybe have something to play for, or it's just one guy. But when you announce both of these guys, it wouldn't surprise me if like one of them plays and the other doesn't. And I guess if Şengün is out, it obviously is a boost to Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. But Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, I think are both much more playable. And I think that if Jalen Green and Şengün are out, Kevin Porter Jr., Tari Eason, potentially you would talk yourself into maybe some Josh Christopher. But again, I always get worried with his minutes. Every time he's projected to play like 26, he plays like 18. But they do need other guards. But it could be, I don't know. They haven't played Ty Washington in a while. So it's really a big piece of news that we don't have right off the bat. So just throwing that out there. Sheets, what are you doing as opposed to earlier in the day? Anything that sort of stands out to you?
A couple of pieces of news that haven't had a chance to process yet. One of them that you brought up, the big news was what's going to happen with Houston. The other two pieces, one Utah, which I'll talk about in a second, which you already touched on. And also, I don't know if this means anything, but I mean, it has to mean something. But in the last 40 minutes, Chris Duarte was ruled out for Indiana. I don't know what that's going to do, or whether the projections are already factored in.
Is that official? Because I've got him in still.
No, it says.
Okay, you're right. No, he's out. You're right.
Has been ruled out. So that's it's an early game. We'll have starters and whatever it is, but it's worth doing a rerun of the projections as we get closer to lock to see what's what over there. The Utah thing you mentioned already. I stepped out when you were talking about that. I presume that Fontecchio is the best point per dollar play tonight, and it looks like it. And you mentioned kind of Chris Dunn, not the greatest, but not the worst either. Taylor Horton Tucker, I imagine you mentioned, and Olynyk. The other two I wanted to ask you about was the Okai Agabi. I have him at about 6x. So you can tell me about him. Yeah. And also, I'm getting I haven't played him in a long time, but I am getting a reasonable projection on Rudy Gay at 3K. So what do you think about
Rudy Gay is basically off the list for me. It's not even his position that they're necessarily missing. Like, I guess he can play the 3 still, but mostly they play him at the 4 or the 5. I don't really. Rudy Gay, if he gets there in 17 minutes, I don't care. Zero interest. Unless something weird happens and he's starting or something. What was the other thing?
Okabe?
Agbaji. Yeah, I had mentioned Agbaji before. Yeah, I think that he's it's just the minutes are so secure. He plays all the minutes anyway. Like, he's going to keep playing them. He's just a very low producing guy at 3,800, but you're getting a guy at 3,800 who's going to play potentially 35 minutes in the best game environment of the night. So just based on that alone, he's certainly in play. I'm not trying to force him in. And Fontecchio even is shooting reliant. So he's not even like a guarantee. I don't feel like these are like guaranteed awesome value plays, but there are some guys at the top you'd want to spend up for, right? So getting them together, if you're going to spend for those guys, especially Embiid, I think it makes some sense. Embiid, Kyrie, and Sabonis. I think Sabonis will be the unowned of those guys, which is kind of interesting because he's just been so clearly the most consistent producer. I mean, obviously Embiid is, but like Embiid is often in the 50s or whatever. I personally like. I don't know. I'm still not building lineups with many guys over 9K. I really like De'Aaron Fox on DraftKings. He'd be my run back for the Sacramento-Utah game. And I'm using more Sabonis on FanDuel just because it's easier to get him in. But I just wanted to sort of like lead into why you'd be wanting to use this value. And it's to mostly get these guys. The thing that worries me about Chris Dunn at Chalk is just the minutes. Like, guy who might play 20 minutes it's scary to pay 4,800 for him. I know he's been productive, but this is a little bit, it's a little hard to ask for, putting up, better than what's he projected to play right now. Like he's projected for
22,
24 minutes. I've got him at
22.
Did you reran afterwards? Yeah. I think that seems about right. And I don't see how in 22 minutes, like, we're going to count on him as a 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy. I know it's a good situation for him. I know it's different. And maybe that's fair. I just think that, like, I don't know, at least DSJ is the same price range. And his minutes have actually been much more secure. He's been playing 30 plus, like 30, 31, 37. He was down in the low 20s before that. But even that, I think I'd rather play Dennis Smith Jr. than done straight up. I guess that's the way I'm looking at it.
We don't have any confirmation that Kyrie Irving's even playing.
We don't have confirmation, no. Judging by the fact that it's a 5-point spread, my guess is yes. But I did notice that right after we got off earlier, because I didn't notice the spread. I was like, oh, they're a 5-point dog in Memphis with no jaw. That must mean that at least one of Kyrie or Luka sitting, and obviously we now know Luka's sitting. Other plays that you're going to come across that are going to look like value plays that are sort of the same ones we always have. Maxi Kleba, the minutes are so there. It just doesn't feel great. That's it. I don't know what else to say about that. I also think that, like, just throwing out another weird, like, I like a lot of these center plays today that people haven't really been talking about. And I think Christian Wood is like a long shot, large field tournament play, whether Kyrie plays or not. I just think it's worth taking a shot on him. The guy's got a monster ceiling. And to answer Nick's question in chat, the other guy I really like that's not showing up from a point per dollar standpoint, like, where is he? I'm actually having trouble even finding him here. What is going on? Did I miss something? Is Vucevic? No, there it is. I think Vucevic has a great career history going back into Philly. Philly drafted him, for those who don't know. He's a kind of a good matchup for Embiid because he takes him away from the basket. He'll shoot threes. So, like, they don't necessarily totally, I don't know. He can be effective on the other side of that game. So I do really like him. I love the price at 7,700 on DK. And but the problem is I also like Embiid, and I also like I like Miles Turner a lot. I really like Nick Richards Nick Richards is the bad projected guy. Can I point out something about Nick Richards? Nick Richards is playing 30 minutes a game in every close game. And then they lose by 16, which was a 30-point game, and they lose by 40. And his minutes are down to 23 and 13 in those games. And he was in foul trouble in both of them. Now, we're going to assume that his minutes, now all of a sudden, this is a guy who's projecting for 30 fantasy points a night, and now we're going to project him at like 20. That just seems like a really, really sloppy projection to me. And they're playing at home against a team that would be very difficult to get blown out by. I mean, it's certainly possible. And you've got him a little bit higher than SaberSim does, which I think is more accurate. But I think Nick Richards is a really interesting tournament play. I think that Vucevic is a really interesting tournament play. And if you wanted to squeeze in one pay up, one spend all the way up, I do think Embiid is a really good spend up when he's not going to be owned in a matchup that he can thrive in. Can you get away with a Vooch and Embiid matchup? It scares me a little bit, mostly because of Vooch's foul trouble. But that would be the case even if we weren't playing Embiid on the other side. So I'm just sort of struggling with those kind of decisions right now. I also would like to get to more Memphis than I'm currently getting to. That's sort of my overall where I'm at.
Another bit of news that we're still on, at least I'm still unsure of, is the availability of Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
I kind of like your idea that if he's in to play him actually, and if he's out, then all those Alexander Walker, Taurean Prince, and then McDaniels, Kyle Anderson. I mean, they all become in play. So that game's at 7:30. I only bring this up because, Kyrie, I'd love to get confirmation that he's playing. I'd like to get confirmation whether or not Anthony Edwards is playing. And I'd like to have that before I have to make my decision on Indiana-Charlotte, which, has some good plays from it. And not to mention there could be more depending on what happens to the starting lineup for Indiana with Duarte out. So I don't know exactly what to do.
I think we're way, as I said earlier this morning, I don't think the Indiana news is particularly relevant.
Okay.
Duarte is not like a thing anyway. Like he hasn't played the last two games. Like it's not like he's been playing. So there's really no boost. I mean, if there's one guy who you could say, look, why aren't we playing this guy? It'd be Aaron Nesmith. He's put up 33 or more 3 games in a row, and no one's playing him. That's another guy that you could include into your tournament pool for sure. Benedict Mathurin, assuming that he's back. I don't know if he'll be on a minutes limit of some sort. Doesn't usually play much more than 28 anyway, but he would be another guy who benefits. Duarte's low usage, so it doesn't really affect anything. And TJ McConnell is going to play in the backcourt anyway. Not like Duarte wasn't going to play much anyway. Probably will play 20 minutes or something.
I think that Houston, those double downgrades there, that could be. That's a big deal. If I can get Porter Jr. and Jabari Smith without those guys in, for example. Not even so much Porter, but yeah, Porter for sure.
Actually, Porter is the one.
Yeah, Porter and Jabari Smith, and then if you want to take a shot at whoever is the straight fill-in, I don't think I want to play. Let's say Sengun is out. I don't think I want to play Garuba.
I don't think it would be Garuba. I think that it would be Tari Eason. Last time this happened, they didn't play any big against the team that got bigs, and Looney's not a true big anyway. Like in the sense where you need to have someone match up with them.
Kaminsky doesn't play, and Boban doesn't play.
Still waiting for that Boban start.
Yeah.
It might happen before. I bet you before the season's out, it happens.
Yeah, he'll start and they'll play 4 minutes or something.
For what it's worth, I'm pretty sure Anthony Edwards is not going to play. Everything seems to be pointing to that. I don't really love anything on Minnesota, even with that. I think Conley is fine. I think Kyle Anderson is interesting, but it's a lot to ask from him. He's 6,900. Taurean Prince is going to show up. He's going to play minutes, but they've been unproductive minutes lately. I honestly don't know that I feel like I'm reaching every play I talk about, but somebody probably gets there. I just don't know that it's as big a news as maybe it's being treated. I'm sorry, as maybe you'd think it would be. I would have thought but Anderson 7K now. Conley is just sort of plugs along and does his thing. He had that crazy game against Chicago, the overtime game. I do think Conley's in play. He would be probably my favorite, but none of them feel like it means everybody else is going to go nuts or anything like that.
Can I ask you a question? Is Walker Kessler a terrible play?
So that was a question in chat that I was going to get to. I don't see there's no boost. Anybody who thinks it's not really a boost for him you can make an argument that it's a boost for him. I don't really know what that would be. Markkanen plays small forward. Like, he's not a power forward even. Like, he's a small forward. He's just a big guy. So Olynyk is the one who gets the boost, not Kessler, in my opinion. But Kessler's always fine for tournaments. And this is a great environment for Kessler. So yeah, he's in play. And not a guy who I'm trying to get to. I prefer Miles Turner. I prefer basically 9 other centers over him, but so he won't make any of my lineups as of right now. But certainly not a bad play for tournaments ever. I'm going to read through a few questions just to see if it gets us back on. Caruso's out, which means I think you could take a shot on Kobe White. So I'll do that in some of my smaller buy-ins.
This all just happened?
He was out at the beginning, right at the beginning of the show. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a massive thing, but I'll give a little idea of what the projections say about that. Any specific FanDuel plays? I'll get to that in a minute. Thanks. Just gonna go through these and then I'll go over there. Rich B, I hate Christian Wood as a real life basketball player. It has nothing to do with fantasy. This happens all the time. People are like, but you hate this guy. You love it. I'm like, I hate D'Angelo Russell too. If the price is right, I'm going to love him for fantasy. You know what I mean? If Anthony Davis is out and the price is right, I'm still going to play him. Yeah, Edwards trading doubtful. Thanks, Pingalo. I appreciate that. That's what I had as well. DSJ and Rozier, no-go, MJ says. I would rather not play Rozier with Dennis Smith Jr., but I think it's okay because they've been playing them together more minutes. But I would rather, like, if I was playing Rozier in a lineup on DK, I would probably put Dunn in that one, and I would put Dennis Smith Jr. in the other one. But one of those guys will end up in a good portion of my lineups either way. And then we've got All Gems asking, really likes a lineup that's leaving with 5K in a forward spot. Dylan Brooks, okay, absolutely. Dylan Brooks is completely viable as a 5K play on DraftKings. You know the risk with Brooks. Like, you might get that 5 fantasy point game, that 10 fantasy point game, but he's going to play the minutes. You're going to get your opportunity in a good game environment. He's actually been more productive of late. So I'm totally fine with Dylan Brooks in the forward spot. You have Brooks is okay, right? I imagine he projects okay on your thing.
All of Memphis seems a little low, except for Bane, actually. I have Memphis like lower than a lot of these other teams. I have them lower than the Utah guys, lower than the Houston guys. Dylan Brooks I have is like 5X or something. That's good enough, I guess.
Yeah, if you have exactly 5K at a forward spot in a lineup you really like, I think you have 4 choices. I think Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, Dylan Brooks, and Jaden McDaniels. I think Dylan Brooks is the safest to get you 25 to 35. I think if you wanted to have a ceiling one, it would be Huerter. Actually, I think that Brooks and what's his name are very similar in that. Brooks and the 4900. Why can't I think of his name? Sorry, I just scrolled right past it. Harrison Barnes, probably safer for 25 to 35. But if you want to go for a ceiling, maybe Kevin Huerter. The only problem is Herter's questionable. There's a lot of that game still has even with Huerter questionable still, that could make some room up for Monk possibly. It would make Harrison Barnes a little bit of a better play. So that's another piece from that game. I really think that getting 1 or 2 minimum from Utah is where I would start. I actually think 2 is probably the right spot. And then I want to play the run back in that game. I also want to try to stack up Indy Charlotte to some extent, and I want to try to stack up Golden State Houston. Much harder to do on the Golden State side, but very easy to do on the Houston side. So maybe I reserve that for FanDuel. Go ahead, Cheats.
Does Caruso being out help Beverly at all, or no?
Caruso being out help, yeah, but it's just you're just I don't know. We've had this come up before. It's sure it could happen. Sorry. I would say it helps him in the sense that he probably plays more minutes, but I don't think that it necessarily it actually hurts the team in a way because he's super low usage. But so is Desonmu. Kobe White is not. So now everybody on the Bulls is a little bit less interesting to me, except for Vucevic. Kyrie and THJ are able to play. Thank you, Brendan. Appreciate the update on that one. So Kyrie's in.
Okay.
Şengün is out. Jalen Green in. Sort of what we thought might happen.
So Jalen Green is in. Okay.
I think Jalen Green is still a tremendous play. I don't know. I don't know that I think you need to play the bigs, but I wouldn't mind if you want to take a shot on Jabari Smith. What I wouldn't do is play Jabari Smith if he looks like a chalk play. And I'm the biggest Jabari guy, so like I'm still a huge. If there are guys on Houston I would want on my team, it's Jabari Smith and Şengün. I don't want those guys for their next 10 years. And Jalen Green probably too, but like he's not there yet in terms of knowing how to play basketball. It's just the games where Jalen Smith goes nuts. First of all, in those games he's shooting about 70% from three. All of them have been double doubles where he's had, and this could be one of those nights again. This is a guy who doesn't get a ton of doubles. He hasn't had a 10. He had the 3-game stretch where he had double-digit rebounds in a row, and we have only seen you have to go into last year if you want to get more than 2. I think there's only been 2 this season outside of those 3 games. But it's okay. I think the main thing is Jalen Green is just more solidified as a mega chalk play. Whereas maybe a way to get a little bit different is playing some Kevin Porter Jr. instead of Jalen Green. But I personally am on the Jalen Green side in terms of expected outcome. If you look at Jalen Green's usage, it's pretty clear they're letting him just take over now. 35% usage in the last game. He only had a 25% usage the game before, but with Şengün and Porter, they take up a lot of other usage, and Şengün off the court, you get a little bit of a boost there. So Jalen Green is going to be really, really popular. And I'm going to play him probably in my big buy-in on DraftKings. But I would say maybe if you're multi-entering, and I will do the same, I will play some Kevin Porter Jr. As a way of getting a little bit different on the news. In terms of FanDuel specific plays, I'll just answer that really quickly because I know Sheets is probably not playing on FanDuel. I think Kelly Olynyk is a better play over there than he is on DraftKings. I think Xavier Tillman's a much better play over there. I think Sabonis is a better play over there. I think Tyus Jones is a better play over there. I think that PJ Washington is a better play over there. Draymond, I'm more okay with over there. It's most of what I have here. Taurean Prince at 4K because there aren't that many 4K-ish values. So if you wanted to go low, I think Taurean Prince would be a good play. Or a reasonable play at 4K who hasn't put up anything. That's pretty much my main difference is you end up with a nice middling build, but if you do want to go dumpster diving, you've got Agbaji and Prince if you wanted to spend up in 2 spots. Brendan is saying Tate is out.
He's been out.
Oh, Tate has been out. Yeah, that's been for a while.
Do you like Kenyon Martin for Houston tonight?
Yeah, it's fine. Not a guy I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
But it's fine. No problem with it. Maybe it's a little better than fine. Maybe it's pretty decent actually. Brendan is asking Kyrie or Steph straight up. That's a really interesting question because I think the answer is pretty clearly for everybody going to be Kyrie. But Steph at what's his ownership going to be versus Kyrie? Steph at
higher owned than Curry, right?
Oh, Kyrie by a lot, yeah. He'll be at least twice his own, probably 3 times his own as Curry. So, but when you factor that in, maybe you play some Curry. But Kyrie is the answer in terms of what I would expect.
And you answered already that somebody said that Edwards is trending doubtful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I'm probably going to leave in 6 minutes to finish building. So guys, fire on in the questions and thoughts. And
unlikely to play. I see that. Okay.
But unfortunately, SaberSim hasn't accounted for it, but most of the other sites have.
What?
That he's not expected to play.
Right.
They've got it projected. That's the one piece where it's kind of a little bit annoying because it looks like they're fixing it. Yeah, there they go. They're in the middle of dropping it because they've got him at 18 fantasy points right now.
Yeah,
as you might imagine.
I'll probably do an update at about 6:40 or so.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. And a reminder, please hit the like button, guys. We really do appreciate it. It does well for us, so we appreciate it. Shingun, as I'm seeing, is updated. Lucas Kyrie will be available. Okay, nothing new. But yeah, so favorite plays are still pretty similar to what my core was earlier for those of you who are site members. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Minnesota, but if anybody wants to ask any questions, one other guy I'm playing who we didn't mention is Jalen Brunson. I feel like is being a little bit under projected here tonight at 7,500. So I just wanted to throw his name out there because I mentioned everybody else I was playing, but I still like Vooch. I still like McConnell. I still like Jalen Green. I still like DSJ, but I don't love him. I love THT. Well, I'm going to play THT regardless, whether how much I feel about him. Really I don't understand why Miles Turner's projection is as low as I'm in on Miles Turner tonight. I'm going to be very high on him. I also like Gobert in the same price range. There's a lot of guys I like in the same price range tonight, like Brunson, Terry Rozier, and Kevin Porter Jr., or Gobert or Miles Turner. All of these guys like in the, and then Vucevic just a little bit more. There's just a lot of plays I like in a very similar price range tonight. So it means that none of them can be too highly owned. And a lot of the ones I like aren't very highly owned, like Miles Turner and Vucevic. So I'm probably going to try to make sure to be overweight those guys. And I'm definitely going to play some De'Aaron Fox. 8,200. I don't care what the results are with Fox in recent games, and they've been playing well as a team. Fox has a monster ceiling, and it's such a good matchup. If the game is competitive, Fox might have 30 fantasy points going into the fourth quarter and walk out with 60. He's just an incredible fourth quarter player. So hopefully that game stays close and De'Aaron Fox gets there.
I don't think I'm going to follow through with my bet on the Rockets, only because, again, I just say that I prefer all the guys be there and Sengun being out. I mean, I don't know what that affects it or not. I just to be disciplined, I'm not going to follow through with the Rockets bet.
Yeah. Oh, I did post it as one of my bets just to give it away. One of my bets of the day. Even with Sengun out, it doesn't really bother me that much. Yeah. I think he was going to have trouble in that kind of environment anyway. Thoughts on Mitch Rob, only 4,500. Sheets likes him. I like him fine. I just think that, reminder, this is not even at 4,500, his last 7 games, I don't really want any of them. I'll take the 30, I guess. But I don't see why he's a better play than Nick Richards, to be honest with you. Especially against Gobert.
That's fair enough.
So you're talking about Fontecchio and Agbaji from the Jazz okay in the same lineup. Yes, those two are okay in the same lineup.
But this Agbaji you're saying he's kind of a low usage guy, you were saying, right?
Very. But he's a good player, but he'll play the minutes. Almost without a doubt, he'll play the minutes unless it's a blowout. Whereas Fontecchio is also Fontecchio's not a usage guy either, but at least he'll shoot. His usage actually has been pretty decent in all fairness to him, but he's very shooting reliant. Yeah,
I have to say that a shooting reliant big, not exactly the greatest chalk in the world, if you want to know the truth. But I don't know.
Yeah. But you have Taurean Prince as your other guy.
As a matter of fact, all these guys. Fontecchio, Baji, Chris Dunn, Kleber, Prince. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised if they all busted.
I'd be surprised if they all busted. And Tari Eason's going to be the best point per dollar play on the slate now.
Oh, okay. I haven't updated it.
I'm almost 99% sure that's going to be the case. Tari Eason is going to be, it's going to be very hard not to play Tari Eason.
Yeah.
With the projection.
But
he's
44. I think he's 4,400. Okay. Yeah. What is he going to project for? 30? Yeah, it looks that way, right?
Something like that. Yeah. I did update my core to include Tari Eason, by the way, for what it's worth. So that's that. Klay Thompson is fine as a tournament play. I do like him okay, to answer that question, Pingalore, but I'm not trying to get to him. It was a play because I wanted to attack that game. Now I've got more plays than I had this morning. So That's the way I'm looking at it. Okay. Anything else before I go and finish building my lineups? I will be in the premium Discord all night. Anybody with questions or thoughts, late swaps and all that, I'll be in there with you. Should be a fun night of very early NBA games.
Yeah, I think that question 1 is to play Embiid. Question 2 is whether to. I'm just going like in order here. Charlotte, you can play the Charlotte guys. Minnesota. I guess we're not waiting for any real big news, right? I mean, unless you consider Gobert legitimately questionable. But he's played every game, like you said. I mean,
yeah. I mean, as of right now, I'm assuming he'll play. I don't see it as likely, but yeah. I mean, yeah. There's going to be news. No, there's news. I mean, there's Kevin Huerter. Like, there's like weird stuff all over the place. Everybody's got some Q tags. It feels like. Why is this not working? There we go. Let me just make sure there's no other. Yeah, Huerter and Trey Lyles are both questionable. That could be something in that game. But nothing major with those two. Jaren Jackson Jr. is questionable. That's a very big piece of news, but
that's a big deal.
I think we're assuming he's playing as of right now. Pretty simple.
I'm just trying to figure out what, whether I should save some stuff, and not play, say.
Well, yeah, it would be Yeah.
Specifically the Charlotte guys, because they look like good plays, but not like, you know what I mean? But not like the best plays. But maybe they are the best plays.
Yeah.
And I still like the Miles Turner, like you said.
Yeah, we're not on very different pages with the chalk isn't that great, but I don't think it's as bad as it was I think it was Friday. I think some of these guys are going to hit. I think that some of them have to. But not like Tari Eason, Fontecchio, Agbaji. But I don't think you need to play. I mean, Tari Eason is the one I feel the most need to play, but I don't know. I agree that it's not like this incredible value that we can just load up on and play Embiid and whoever else we want.
It'd be nice to play Embiid, though.
I know. I do like Embiid. At least it's not on TV. If it was on TV and I was fading Embiid, I'd never live with myself.
Yeah, but you know what? He's kind of on a mission, like you were saying. He's just,
he is looking at his TV games even during that mission versus his non-TV games. It's like crazy, and they have a ton of them too. They play at least once a week on TV, usually twice a week. And I swear, all of his monster games have come on the nationally televised games. The 69 and the not the 69, the 70 was though, and the 61 before that was. But yeah, I mean, but he's a monster. And the problem that DraftKings did today. So all the value is a little suspect, and all of the spend ups are a little too cheap, I would say.
Okay.
So, kind of funny,
Yeah.
Which leads me more to that middle value, the 4 or 5K guys and the 7K and 8K guys, because those guys are underpriced too, I feel like. De'Aaron Fox being my favorite one of them.
De'Aaron Fox is very, very sneaky cheap.
Yeah. You got some people asking you in Discord about why you're not updating the FanDuel sheets. Just giving you an idea.
I'll do. I said 640, right?
No, but apparently there's been no FanDuel update since 16th of March.
Oh, well, maybe that's not my fault then.
That's only Thursday, I guess.
Let's see.
You said you weren't going to do them Friday the other day. You announced.
I thought I uploaded them. I'll do them now.
Don't go to the end. You can't do it. You can't. It's a little.
I was going to do it anyway, so it's fine.
Okay.
I thought I put it up there. Let me just see something because. Well, I don't want to put up what I have because I did them earlier, but if I didn't upload them, I don't want to upload them now just to show you that I uploaded them earlier because I'm going to change them anyway, right?
He says you didn't upload them earlier either, but it's all right.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't want to upload them now just to prove that, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't understand. No.
Don't worry about it. Doesn't even matter at all. Right. So I'm going to redo them. anyway.
Okay.
I was gonna say I did them, but I did them like 2 hours ago, I think. And
Oh, really?
the point is that I'm not going to re-upload those if they're stuck.
No.
Just if I have to change them anyway. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, good luck, Sheets. Good luck, everybody. And I'm going to finish out my builds. And Sheets, are you good?
I'm good.
All right. Good luck, everybody. Have a good night.